Hey everybody, it's Holly Fogel, the 1 Hour Coach, and I am being joined by White Simpson, a colleague of mine for many years. And I'm interviewing White today. He's going to take us a little through a journey in his career over the last 18 years. So sit back and enjoy an inspirational story from my fellow friend and colleague, White. So White, Thank you for joining me and giving up your time, which I know is very precious these days. But just start and tell me, let's just start with, hey, how long have you been selling real estate?
Holly, first of all, thank you. I've been selling for, it'll be 20 years at the end of June. 20 years. That's a long time.
Wow. So you've seen a lot change in this industry, huh?
I've seen good, bad. I've seen it's great now. I've seen the way things have changed, where we used to pull listings. Now people tell us what they want to see. Lots of, we used to take one picture. I've seen a lot of changes.
Yeah, and that's the thing. We really can't get too comfortable in this industry, or we shouldn't. So speaking along those lines, how did you first start building your real estate business? What were some of your sales channels?
Well, the biggest thing was I live in Beaufort, and I thought I knew a lot of people that would use me, and they did. But I realized that I had to find other ways to come up with ways to help people. And that was from, I coached my kids' ball teams. I would volunteer at different functions, and I was always trying to see if I could help anybody. But I realized that in itself wasn't going to be enough to reach the goals that I have to do the things that I want to be able to do for my family.
So in the early years, what did your year-over-year production look like? Were you on a constant growth channel, or was it up and down?
It was like a roller coaster, but it was hovered around 14 to 16, 17 transactions. I think the first year I actually had 35.
Wow.
But I could never match. I never matched that again until recently.
Wow. So, okay. So then a couple years ago, I think it's been 3 years?
4 years.
4 years. So 4 years ago, you decided to make some changes in your business. What prompted the change, and can you tell us what the change was?
Well, the thing that prompted the change is I had been seeing a business coach, and I decided that I would go do what he told me to do. Then I'd slack off. Then I'd go see him again. I'd slack off. And I finally saw the success other people were having, and they're just like me. And I decided that if they could do it, I could do it. And the big change was I just dedicated myself to, I was either going to make it or I was going to go find something else to do. And I enjoy this business and helping people. And I just decided that I could do it, and I have made it work. The changes that I have implemented.
So what is the big change that you are now doing that you weren't doing before?
The big change is I am proactive every day. I see everybody's a prospect. I get on the phones for at least an hour and a half a day, calling people that I don't even know, just to see if I can help them. And some days everybody tells me no, but some days 3 or 4 people tell me yes. And I look at it, if you help one person a day, there's probably 240 working days a year. And it takes time to build relationships, but most agents aren't, anybody can be average. And I was just looking at it that, I want to be better than average. So if you reach enough people and help enough people, you can achieve your goals.
Great. So I'm going to pop in here for a second, because this is the point where, and I've had White in classes before, and everyone in the room immediately starts in right at this point. Where are you getting the numbers? Who is it that you're calling? Are you calling all the same time? Do you leave a voicemail? Do you, do you not leave a voicemail? Like everybody goes in for all these little questions. Why do you think everybody goes in for every single time? You have to agree with me, right? As soon as you say you make phone calls, everybody, yeah. And why do you think everybody asks all those questions?
I think everybody asks because they think it's easy. And you just have to decide that you're going to do the activities. I've heard Holly say a long time ago, this was a contact business, sport, however you want the phrase you want to use. You have to contact people to help them. And it's, you're not, if you call 100, you might get 10 and 3 might say yes, but you got to look for no's. You got to have enough no's to get yeses. And I just think people, they don't want to put in the work to get the results. When you double your business, it's not going to come easy or overnight, but it's worth the reward if you do it.
So did you have all the how-tos when you first started making these phone calls, or did you have to go figure it out?
You got to go figure it out. I fell on my face a lot. To quote, I guess you threw up a lot on people, but it's okay. I mean, if you're nice to them, they're typically nice back to you. They may tell you no, but you can eventually earn their trust.
I just had something just popped in my head, and I don't know if you'll remember this. I'm hoping that you will, but a couple of years ago when White first started making these phone calls, I would kind of check in and I'd be like, how's it going? And there were some times when you're like, it's going, and you might fall off the horse a little bit, but I'll never forget this time he said, I had this lady yell at me and hung up. And so I said, oh my God, what'd you do? He goes, I'm sending her flowers. Do you remember that? Yeah. So tell a little bit about that story and what happened.
This lady, her husband actually had ALS, and I called her. She wanted me to come out, and she got really mad at me. I mean, she was really mad. So I sent her flowers the next day. And it's been a while since I talked to her. Her husband did pass away, but she says nobody's ever done that for me.
And she had actually called you back after her husband died, right?
Yes.
Wasn't that what prompted the number?
And she decided to stay. But they don't stay mad at you forever.
And I think what really resonated that day for me was people aren't mad because you're calling.
They're mad at their situation.
Yeah, it's their situation or something that's going on in their life. So if we can always look at it as, hey, I'm just here to help. Yep. I'm just wanting to see how, and I think you do such a great job of doing that. So, okay, so you're doing the calls and you're in coaching. Can you share a little bit about how your coaching looks? And
yeah, my coaching is I get a call every morning or 3 mornings a week on a conference call. We do role playing, and usually the coach will get on there and tell us what we need to do. A lot of it's about real estate, some of it's about life, and it's more to just hold us accountable and make sure that we're doing the things that we're supposed to do every day so that we have success.
So you're into a well-oiled machine as far as your schedule. So tell us a little bit, what time do you get to the office?
I try to get to the office every morning no later than 7:40. That way I can start making my calls at 8, because you don't want to come in and just jump on the horse, because it's not it. You need to get focused on what you got to do. And then I call from 8 to about 9:30, 9:45. And then after that, I follow up on the calls from the day before.
Okay, so do you call the same people over and over again, or is it always fresh new people?
I call the same people. I add new people I add 2 or 3 new ones every day, but I call the same people.
Call the same people. So, and that's going fine.
Mm-hmm.
I think you have a couple of things on the books right now from previous calls.
I've had some people I've been calling. One guy I've been calling for 3 years.
Wow.
And it's closing next week.
Wow. So persistence pays off for sure.
And I got a referral from him that's closing next week.
Great. So your model before was pretty much working by referral. You're still doing that. You still get referral business, correct?
Mm-hmm.
Do you think that adding in this new thing is what has helped you double your business?
I think this new program it's helped me double my business, but it also holds me accountable to myself and to my goals. You have to have a reason to get up every morning, or money doesn't drive. It's not the driving force. It's what's your reason of getting up every morning and going to work.
Yeah, so you have some good aspirations. So you were able to do a few things this year that you hadn't done in the past. Why don't you share some of those things?
We were able to go to the Rose Bowl and go to Georgia Notre Dame game, and I could have done those things before, but it would have, when you're able to have more success, you don't worry about can I afford to do that. It's a product of the hard work that I was able to go and enjoy it and not worry about, where my next closing was coming from.
Right. And you said something earlier today about having 50 deals as opposed to 20. And
it's a lot easier, I've found, to close 40, 50. I closed 41 last year. It's easier to close 41 than to close 10, because if one falls apart, you're trying to hold it together. And if you've got a larger number, you just work every day to continue to get new business in your pipeline.
Perfect. So what advice or what little things changed in your mindset that maybe you could help inspire other people to, take that leap of faith in something you haven't done before, or just some kind of, maybe just a few words of advice for folks?
My thing would be, if you're going to be in this business, it's hard work, but it is well worth it. I think you need to set a daily goal, a weekly goal, and you need to have a goal that gets you up out of bed, like we said, or get you to work every day. And you need to have a schedule, and you need to stick by it, and you need to try to control your schedule, because if you don't, chaos will just happen. If you can't control your schedule, then there's not anything you can control.
Good. So when you look back prior to making this adjustment, do you feel like you worked more hours and harder before, or now at this increased production level, are you like, I'm kind of going crazy, I'm working harder? Like, how's it been?
I am working harder, but I'm working a lot smarter. I don't work near as many. I don't work a lot of nights, and I work very few weekends now.
Wow. See, most people have a hard time even comprehending that.
Yeah, I mean, it's.
Are you telling the truth?
Yeah, I used to think the same thing, but I don't. I only work weekends if I choose to work weekends.
Wow, that's so inspiring. And what I love is just watching the change, and because we used to think so much the same when we were both selling at the same time and doing our working by referral, and we kind of got into that mindset. And it was hard to take on something different. So it's fun, to see that I heard the same information about calling expireds that you did. Maybe the same session. I'm not sure if we were there at the same time years and years ago. But it was almost like something I needed to hear over and over again. How many times do you think you heard about that program before you actually jumped in?
I went for 4 years on and off before I just decided I was in. And then I got into a mini program of it, and then I finally when I jumped in, when I just dove in, it took off.
Well, I'm thrilled just to see how things have changed for you and your success level. And it's fun because you're always my go-to person now when I'm teaching here. I'm always like, if White can do it, you can do it, you know.
And that's it. You're correct. I mean,
anybody can make that choice.
Anybody can do what they want to do, and but you have to have the goals, because if you don't have a reason to do it, it won't happen.
It won't happen. You're so right. Well, thank you so much for
welcome.
sharing your story. I so appreciate it.
And
keep up the good work. Have fun on your trip to Alaska.
Yeah.
Another trip. So,
yeah.
Well, good luck, and thank you so much, White.
Right. Thank you, Holly.
So that was my interview with White, colleague. As you can see, if you believe in something, it can be. So if you don't have the belief system for a particular lead generation system, it's probably not going to work. So once you go all in, and that was a big thing, big takeaway from White, you've got to go all in. You have to have the reason. You'll figure out the skills. It's just going to keep building and building. So I really hope if there's been something that you've been thinking about trying and you keep going back to it like he did, he was kind of on and off for 4 years, I hope that you'll make the decision to go all in and change your career. I hope to talk to you all soon, and thanks for joining us.